Today's going to be a pretty exciting day. Now, the springs come from our coilovers, so super keen to get them all installed. But firstly, we're going to have to make a brace or a strut bar for the front coilover towers. Now, we're going to be using this material here, which is a 20mm diameter tube for the two sides. And because it's going to have a bend in it, we're going to have to put the solid in just so it gives it some strength. So all the load on this material will be just pushing and pulling force, which this is plenty strong enough. I think this is like 3mm or 3.5mm wall section. I've already gone ahead and machined up the bosses for the ends, and pretty much I've welded these little tags onto the top of my coil towers here, and pretty much self-explanatory really. So you can see, if we get down to height, how much of a curve this middle part's going to have. It's not great, but I just want that middle section, because it will be pushing together hard. It's got to be that solid material, because anything less, when you start putting a bend in it, it's just going to keep bending, as tube tends to do. So now with the springs we got, I rang up Mike's Shock Shop, and they sort of recommended these springs, even though they look like little billy cart springs. Hopefully these ones are going to be right. Like, for example, that's the top coilover spring, and this is the spring that came out of the Zoot. So they look like little remote control car ones, but so I've got all our bits we need to make up our strut top brace. Now, the problem I'm going to have is I need my first bend right at the end of the material there. And obviously, if I use one of these Harbor Freight presses, the problem I'm going to have is I'll be pressing off the weak material. So what I'm going to have to do is, I think, is put it in the press. And I'm pretty sure we have mini dies somewhere. Oh yep, there. Hopefully this die right here fits the pipe, which it's close enough. We'll just block it up and press it little bits at a time. And hopefully it's going to be sitting. See, it probably still needs a touch more. I want the top of this, because this section is going to be flat here. I want this section to be flat or match the back firewall here, just so if you ever look at it, when your eye catches it, it'll look in plane and it won't look up like this or something. It's hard because the motor and all that's on a funny angle. It sort of gives the illusion that everything's out, but we can only try our best. All right, hopefully this is the final one. Whoop, whoop. If I can get it on there. Yeah, that's us. You got to remember also we have to allow for movement of this motor, especially because it's on hydraulic engine mounts. They do tend to flop around, especially being diesel. Where if it was petrol, we could get away with a lot less tolerances. Because she's a rattly old girl, she tends to bump around a little bit, but I'm super happy with how that's come out. Now what we'll do is we'll mark our last bend, which is going to be right there somewhere. Now this bend's going to be the tricky bend because we need to get it on the same angle as this bend, otherwise it will be out. We can always heat it and twist it a little bit, or probably just press it, but we'll try and do our best. Without using any digital angle finders or anything, I got that pretty spot on, and that's just using my eye. Normally the test will be putting on this. Look at that. That's pretty damn good. Hopefully it's the right bend, because I just sort of guesstimated that one. After a little bit of mucking around, we got it in there. And if we run our eye, you can just see it's in the same plane as our firewall. So super happy that we got heaps of room, because the motor's going to torque up like this. We got heaps of room here for it to do so. Now we're going to do what I was thinking of doing is, because this is going to have to, once that sits level, I was going to put a little triangle in here just to brace it up a little bit, but we'll tack that in. I'll roll the welder over, we'll tack that in, and then we'll work out exactly where our little triangles are going to go. Okay, I just finished welding that up. I quickly put it back on the car so as it cools, it doesn't try and twist or do anything we don't want it to. So once that's all cooled, I might actually leave it overnight because it's still a little bit warm. We'll clean up all this and we'll just give it a quick splash of primer or something, just so it doesn't go all rusty. But pretty happy with how it come out. Them gussets will look all right once they're I can clean them all up. But we've got our coilovers all bolted up. The tops are just sort of the bolts pushed in, but I've done up the bottom just because the brackets on there are only tack welded. But we're finally going to see, it's going to be sitting on its own weight, and we're going to see ride height, so pretty excited. So let's drop the little fork down and see how it's going to all sit. That sits pretty damn good, if you ask me. This will sit a little bit further down just because they're brand new springs. They will need to settle, but oh, actually look, they're sitting on the stoppers there, so we'll have to raise them up and adjust them, because right now I think we're sitting on the bottom spring. All right, we'll quickly adjust those. I might just go all the way up for a minute just so we can see where it's... I don't even have the proper tools to tighten these either. We'll try dropping it down now. How's this side? We're just off it. Jesus, every time I press on it, it goes down further. How much shaft have we got showing? Oh yeah, we got about, is that 75 mil of shaft showing? That is going to sink a little bit more too. So we might have to get that top spring at 200 pound spring. Because right now, if I haven't said it already, the top springs are 150 pound and the bottoms are 200, I think. I could be wrong. Let me just check the boxes. Yeah, the tops are 150 and the bottoms are 200. So we might have to up that top spring rate a little bit more. So overall, pretty happy with how everything's come out. Now, we've still got to work out a location for the reservoirs. I've got to do a new air box because the old one's just no way it's going to fit in there now. And we just got to tidy up our wiring, because for whatever reason, I think I've pulled the glow plug wire or something, because we don't have glow plugs. But I got the forklift under the wheel. We got our big wheels on. Let's just see how it's all going to flex up. This will be the first actual time I've flexed it up. So I'll chuck you on the GoPro stand and then we'll raise it up. All right, that's about as far as we can go, because I still got a clearance to rear guard. I hope I haven't ruined it, because I heard it make a crunch. Yeah, nah. Yeah, and we still got to adjust the bump stops. The pipes I put in there just so I could roll it round aren't gonna do, but you can see how that 50 mil clearance takes up real quick. So the whole guard's gonna have to have a bit of an adjustment, but a 35 does get in there. Still got heaps of clearance on our coilover everywhere. Let's just quickly get a measuring tape and just see how high that is. It's kind of annoying because the forklift fell in that drain, and because it's only got a little wheel at the back to drive it, she's all a bit rickety. But overall, it looks pretty damn cool. And again, how much more? That'd be getting near on full extension in the front. And you can see with our clearances up there, we got more than a hand width. So I did pretty good with me bung eye and a tape measure. I'm pretty happy with that. But overall, pretty good. And our shaft, oh no, our shaft's it's just bottoming out on the rubber now on that coilover. So when we do our bump stops, this bump stop's gonna have to be a touch longer, and then we got a clearance to front of this guard. Overall, not too bad for the front. So height wise, we'd be looking at, or about 850 at the minute to the bottom of the tyre. So not bad for a little Zook. Now with the rear suspension, that's still got heaps more to go, but the problem we're gonna have in the back here, because I don't want to cut all the back out, is gonna be trying to get the longest shock possible with retaining all the body. Now I should be able to get around 300 mil of travel in the back, but again, I'm still waiting back from measurements on shocks and what I want to do in the back. That's going to do it for this video. See you in the next one.